Are clipped wings better at an early stage for teaching birds to stay? Does clipping the wings on a baby help teach them to stay so that as an adult, you could let the wings grow back out and they wouldn't be as flighty? Well, this is right here is Cody the Cape Parrot, and he's never been clipped. He's had his full wings all the time. And he was very flighty as a baby, and yet now as an adult, he can stay put, and he's nowhere near as flighty as he was as a baby. And that's not due to wing clipping, but due to growing up. As they grow up and get a little bit older, they become naturally less flighty than when they're very young and inquisitive, and naturally determined to learn to fly and use their wings to fly around. Now, the other thing, and the most effective thing, more so than wing trimming, is positive reinforcement training. We use positive reinforcement training to teach them that being down and not flying around is a good choice. It's a good way to interact with us. This is very important because it doesn't ruin flying for them. Parrots that are clipped for a long time become skittish and fearful, and this can also make them bitey and aggressive. And some of the problems that can happen in the long run due to clipping don't go away. So the side effects of clipping can be there to stay for the long run and make them not a good flyer, not a confident flyer, even when they get their wings back. By using positive reinforcement training, we can really teach the bird to use their flight in a very desirable and good way, rather than forcing them not to fly or making it inappropriate where they learn to fly the wrong way. Come step up. Great job, Cody. Cody, come. Great job. The reason it is detrimental to clip a young baby's wings is they're in a critical stage of development. It is when they are learning how to use their muscles, how to use their wings, how to navigate, how to get around. And I understand there might be a temptation to say, well, if they can't do that as a baby, then they will learn to stay put. They won't be as flighty and you'll be able to have a clip pair without clipping them. The problem is, as the wings grow back, they will start to fly again, but they won't develop the ability to fly the same way as when they're younger. When they're young, their brain is like a sponge. It's hardwired to learn when they're at that age. So they learn what it means to take off, what it means to land, what it means to maneuver, what it means to crash into glass and to avoid glass. Furthermore, their bodies are much more malleable. It's just like human children. They're built to take those bumps and falls much better as a youngster than as an adult. Baby parrots, while learning to fly, are much less likely to break any bones or get injured if they bump or fall down. Whereas for an adult, that can be much more harmful. So giving them the opportunity to get that out of their way and learn the right way to fly and get the bumps and bruises out of the way early while it's safe, much better. Cody, come. Great job. So by doing flight training, it both teaches them how to fly and to fly to you, but it also teaches them not to fly and wait to be called again. So through the process of training, we don't ruin flight for them, but we teach them to control it and when to use it, when not to use it, how to use it in an appropriate way in the human environment. They learn to fly around and not crash into windows, not crash into mirrors, and not get into problems. Whereas older birds, they're much more reluctant to learn to fly, they're less confident, they're much more difficult to teach to fly, and they might use it the wrong way. So the baby, while they're young and eager to train, comes up. While they're young and eager to train, they'll learn how to fly in a much more appropriate way more quickly. That's where the parrot training perch really comes in and is very helpful. It is a great place to do the training and for them to learn that that's where they want to be. By spending time teaching that youngster that on the training perch, not only do we do flights and flight recalls there, but we do step ups, we do some tricks, we play around, do other training. It teaches them that they want to be there. And rather than using a forceful means to keep them on the stand, they learn to stay there because it's what they grew up with. They grew up going on a training perch every day to do some basic training. So now that Cody is older, he's over 2 years old, he stays put on his training perch and doesn't go flying off all the time. And ultimately, parrots flying is great exercise. It's great fun. It's a great way for them to get around and be a part of the family. So I think that it is a big plus and a fun part of having a parrot. And ultimately, if the goal is to have a flighted parrot, having them flighted as a youngster is just as important and probably even more important than having them flighted as an adult so that they can learn to use their flight appropriately. check out my Parrot Wizard training purchase, my book, The Parrot Wizard's Guide to Well-Behaved Parrots, and the parrot supplies that I've developed out of having flighted parrots my whole life that will help you have a great experience without having to clip their wings.